Okay, today what we will do, we have some pending task in threads. Okay, first we will finish that pending task in thread. Then we will see some other mini topic. So that will pending task, whatever is there in thread, it will not take much time. So first, so the pending task is right. So far, we are dealing with one thread, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are creating one thread and we are starting it and we are seeing that what are the operations it is performing, correct? Say for instance, if you are creating multiple threads, bunch of threads, and if you want to know the status of each thread, so whether that state each thread is completed or not, it's in progress or something like that, so in that case how you are going to control multiple threads by using thread group, meaning we are creating separate threads, so that threads we are going to monitor. So this is one thread, this is one thread, this is one thread. These are child threads, maybe sub threads. All these threads are monitoring by thread group. So this is thread group.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the sub threads. Correct? These are the independent threads. And all these threads we are going to monitor by using thread group. So how many threads are running, how many threads are completed, what is their status, what is the count, all those things we can able to see by using thread group. So that is the main purpose of thread group basically. Okay, so let me see one, we'll have a look at one example. So where is thread? So this is our last thread example, right? So here I'm going to create one more example. Tom dot test dot t group. Okay, so here, right, I'm going to create two threads. So first thread is class A. So threads we can able to create in two ways. One is by implementing the runnable interface or by extending the thread class, correct?
Right.
But in this case, we have to follow, meaning we have to implement a thread by using runnable interface only. So that kind of threads only we can able to monitor by using thread group. So this is one class basically. So only if you are using the, if you are implementing or if you are creating a thread by using runnable interface, then only we can able to monitor it. Otherwise, you are not able to monitor it. Okay, now I am going to create a thread A by implementing runnable interface. Okay, so shit, what is this? So this is the runnable interface, and inside this we have a start method, correct? Means sorry, we have a run method. So we have to implement it. So for to implement it, I am going to write one for loop. So just have a print it for int I equal to 0, I less than maybe some 100, I plus plus. So I'm going to print the numbers. So just I am trying to get the current thread name. After that, I am trying to print the number. So this is the first thread. So after printing each one number, I'm making a sleep of some 1 second. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So 1 second. Let me give 10. Otherwise, it will take more time. So sleep is throwing an exception of compile time. So we have to provide try catch. So I have provided try catch. So this is the first thread. The first thread just what it will do, it will print the numbers from 0 to 9. Similarly, I am going to create one more thread with name as B. Correct? So this is B. Okay, here I am going to print the numbers from 10 to 20. So these are the two threads. These are clear, right? So far?
Mm-hmm.
So far just we created simple two threads. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start the threads. I'm going to start the threads. th1 equal to new a. So how to start this thread? We have to create a thread object. Thread t equal to new thread, and we have to pass the th1 and from t1 dot start. Correct? So it will start this thread. Similarly, I'm going to start one more thread. So how to start it? Same, copy the code and make it 2, and here we have to pass second object and 2. Yes, 2. So basically now if you see here, right, two threads we created and two threads we are going to start it. Correct?
Right.
How to start? Just run the program and then you will see the numbers. So it will print the numbers one by one. You see here thread 0 is printing and thread 1 is printing. Correct? Now in this position I want to know how many threads are active. Current position. Correct? So how to know that kind of status? So how to start these threads? So for that, what you have to do, we have to create a thread group. Thread group. So this is the new class. tg equal to new thread group. So once after creating the thread group, what we have to do, let me place this on the top. So now thread group is created, right? So what we have to do, we have to register this thread group for each thread. How many threads you want to include as part of this thread group? So I want to include these two threads as part of this thread group. So for that, what you have to do, you have to pass this object here when you are creating this thread. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
So now this th1 will be part of this thread group.
Right.
The similar way, I want to include this thread also as part of my thread group. So now two threads are there under this thread group. So once after starting this thread, I want to know what is the total count of my active threads. Did you see that there is so many methods are available? So from the thread group, you can able to count what is the active count. Did you see that active count and what is the active group? Something like that. There is so many methods are available. So you can use it and you can able to verify whatever you want. So just to verify it, just I want to know what is the active count of threads. So let me print it here. Active total count. Did you see this? Starting only it is printing the active count is 2. So I don't want to print the active count starting. So just I want to print this, this thing after some 2 seconds. Thread dot sleep. So what I will do here, I'm going to print this one after 5 seconds. So first what I'm trying to do, I'm starting my child threads. After 5 seconds, I'm trying to find how many active threads are still it is running. Do you see this? So I'm going to check. Threads are running, right? Now once 5 seconds is over, I want to know. Yes, did you see this? Still 2 threads are running, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The similar way, I want to find out active threads after 11 seconds. After 11 seconds, what will happen? All the threads will be completed, right? Correct? Why? Because each thread will take 10
One.
seconds, correct? So let me verify after 11 seconds. What is the active count? Meaning once after 11 seconds, these two threads will be completed, right? After
Mm-hmm.
5 seconds, I want to see the count, and after 6 seconds, I want to see the count whether these two are completed or not. If it is completed, you will get active count as a 0. Correct? Why? Because each thread will take 10 seconds. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now let me run it and we'll show you. Now 2 threads are active and 2 are running. So now 5 seconds are completed, 2 threads are active. Do you see that everything is completed and count is 0? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So in this way, we can able to monitor the sub threads, how many are active, how many are completed, how many are not completed. So that is the purpose of thread group. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Okay, now we will see there is some other, last topic is pending. So that is called cloning.
Clone. Okay.
Cloning, yes. So what is mean by cloning? Say for instance, I have one student object. So this is student, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to create same a duplicate object, replica object of student. This is also look like almost 100% same. Data is same, everything. So this is original object and I want to create some kind of duplicate object. So how to create duplicate objects? So this is called cloning. How to create a duplicate object? So this is called cloning. Okay. Now second question is when we are creating the duplicate object, say for instance, so you are modifying the cloned object some data, you are corrupting some of the data, you are modifying some of the fields. So how it will reflect the parent object or original object? Does we need to allow to reflect the same changes in the parent object or not? If it is reflecting in the parent object, that we is to called as a shallow cloning. If it is when we are modifying the duplicate object, if it is not reflecting in the parent object, then it is called as a deep cloning. So cloning is basically two types. Okay, one is shallow cloning and another one is deep cloning. Okay, so in case of shallow cloning, whatever you are modifying in the duplicate object, so the same thing will be reflected here. That is called shallow cloning. Whereas in case of deep cloning, if you are modifying the cloned object, it will not reflect the original object. So this is called shallow cloning and this is called deep cloning.
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
Yeah.
Two different
So
cloning.
basically, I have a one object called student.
Right.
I want to create a similar kind of.
ওটার ইমেলটা অবশ্য আমি ওটা জানতাম না বিধা আমি ওকে বলছিলাম যে তুমি সাবমিট করছো কিনা ফোনও কত হয়েছে
Just give me a
তো
sec.
ও বলছে
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
আইআইটিসি মানে নতুন মনে হয় এই লাইনে মানে নিউ ইয়র্ক স্টেটে কারণ আমরা দেখি যাই ইয়ে করে না আর কি
Yes. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, fine, fine. Now it is fine. I think Mustafa is talking.
Oh, okay. Sure.
He's disconnected.
I don't know.
Yes, let me ping him. I think he's disconnected. Yes.
I think he wasn't able to put the mute probably. That's why. Okay.
No, I kept in mute and he got disconnected. Just
Oh,
let
okay.
me ping him. Just I'm going to ping him.
Okay.
Mustafa. I pinged him. Just
He's gonna come back. It's alright. You can continue.
we will continue or we will wait.
No, he can come back. I think he's busy a little bit.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So cloning means by using cloning concept we can able to create a duplicate objects. Correct?
Okay.
So what is the purpose of duplicate object? If you want to perform some operations on the cloned object, okay, if you want to modify some data in the cloned object, so how we are going to modify? So student, this is the original object. Okay, I want to create same kind of object, or else I want to create a duplicate object, similar kind of object, student. So so this is the original object and this is a cloned object. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
say for instance, if I'm modifying the cloned object, meaning I'm resetting some of the fields, I'm modifying some of the data in the cloned object. Okay, if it will reflect in the original object, if the changes are applying in the original object also, that is called as a shallow cloning. Okay, when you are modifying the cloned object, if it is not reflecting, if it is not reflecting in the main object, that is called as a deep cloning. In this case, both objects, the parent object or our original object or cloned object, will share same memory,
Okay.
but the data is different.
Because you're modifying it.
Yes, I'm going to modify it. Sometime it will reflect, sometime it will not reflect. If it is reflecting, that is called as a shallow cloning. If it is not reflecting, that is called as a deep cloning. Like it will behave both are like a separate.
Right. But if you are changing it, if you're modifying the object, but why not is not gonna clone it?
So that is based on your requirement. If the cloned object modifying, if you want to reflect the parent object, then we have to create that as a shallow cloning. If you don't want, then you have to create as a deep cloning. Yeah, tell me, what is your question?
Yeah, okay. I think I will get it when you once you start programming.
Yes, then you will get more clarity. So this is theoretically called a cloning. Okay, now let me write a simple Java class or project. Okay, so now I'm going to create a simple class clone. Shallow clone demo. This is the first class. Com dot test dot shallow clone. So let me create a simple main class. Okay, so now I created a class. So inside that, I'm going to create a class called employee. So this is employee class. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So inside the employee, I'm going to create employee name, and I'm
Okay.
going to create employee ID, two fields. Okay.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to create another class called department.
Okay. So that will be string, right?
Department is a separate class.
Okay.
So these two are like a plain, I mean, fields. This is a separate entity. So I need to first let me assign the value by using setter getter. So let me add setter getters, generate setter getters. So all the fields, yes. So employee class is ready. Okay. Now I have to create this department class, correct? So let me create department class. So I'm going to create department class is done. So this is the department class. Inside the department class, what I'm going to do, private string department name and private int department number. So these are the two fields. I'm going to add here setter and getter for department class. Did you see this? So far it's clear.
Right.
So far just I created employee class and some fields and setter getter and department class and setter getter, correct?
Right.
Now what I'm going to do, first I will create employee object. Let me create employee object and let me assign the value employee equal to new employee, and I need to set the values, right? Employee dot set name. First let me add his name is ABC. So this is the employee name. Okay. Now employee ID is set employee ID 1234. Okay. It is clear now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I need to create a department object, correct? Why? Because department is a separate class. Department dp equal to new
Department.
department. Dp dot set department name. Department name is admin. Okay.
Okay.
And the department ID equal to department number equal to 100.
Okay.
So now I need to add this department to this employee, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now let me add employee dot set department. So now I what is this? Cannot be resolved. Yes, now so I created employee, added the details, and I created department, and I set the department details to employee, correct?
Okay.
So far it's clear, right?
So employee and then department and then employee does set department and but you calling that variable department. Okay.
Yes, yes. I added this department to this employee.
Okay.
Okay. Now I have an employee, correct? Now I want to create a duplicate employee object. So with same details, I want to create one more employee, some clone object. So how can I create it? So I want one more object with a duplicate as a cloned object. So how can I create it? But I don't want to do all those things. But I want a employee object with similar kind of data. So how can I create it with a different object? So this is the question here. Now you got the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how can I create? But I don't want to do all these steps. I want same data, but I don't want to do all these steps. So how to do it? So to create it in a duplicate object, so there is an interface called. So which object you want to create? Employee, right? So
Mhm.
this employee class must implement. There is an interface called clonable. So we have to implement clonable interface, which class or which class you want to create as a duplicate object, and inside the clonable interface there is a method called. So this is an interface, correct?
Mhm.
Markable interface. So this interface is a markable interface. Okay, so it's this interface is a markable interface, and now what we have to do, we have to implement. There is a method called clone. So this method you are getting from the object class. If you open this interface, right, you will not see anything. See, did you see this? Did you see any methods here?
No.
Why? Because this is a marker interface. Marker interface, it's same like a serializable. So this is a marker interface. So you'll, why? Because this is a duplicate operation, right? You are doing.
Right.
So it's illegal operations, mean JVM will not allow. So to allow this one, you are trying to create some duplicate objects, correct? So JVM will not allow this one. So if you implement this clonable interface, then only you can able to create a duplicate object. Okay, so that is the purpose of this marker interface. After that, we have to implement this clone method. So this method you are getting from the object class. This is clear.
Doable.
And the implementation is we are calling super.clone. So this is the implementation.
Okay.
So now how you will get these duplicate objects? So now we have a original object, right? What is the original object name? Employee, correct?
Mhm.
So you take the original object name employee dot clone, and we need to downcast it. This clone method is return type is object, right?
Mhm.
So we have to downcast it to your employee. So now we have a duplicate object, correct? So this clone method will throw an exception, compile time exception, clone not support. So what you have to throw that exception back.
Hmm.
This is fine now. So now I have a two objects. One is original object. So this is a original and this is a cloned object, correct?
Right.
Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to modify the cloned object. This is my cloned object, right? Did you see this?
Mhm.
Now I'm going to modify my cloned object. Let me modify it. Get department dot set. So department name I'm going to modify admin to. Currently, what is the department name? Admin, right?
Admin.
I'm going to modify as a manager. So the cloned object I modified. Did you see this?
Get department. Okay.
So I modified cloned object department name. So now let me print the original object department name.
Can you? How do you see the? I don't see the get department.
So this is my first what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the
Right. But
department.
the
After
method.
that, I'm modifying it. I'm updating the
Mhm.
department name for the cloned object.
All right. But I'm saying that clone dot get department. Is it in the employee class?
Yes, yes, it is from employee class. Did you see that
Oh.
employee having cloned? But I'm not modifying the original object.
Okay.
Original object AMP I am not modifying. Correct? Now I am going to get the original object department name. Correct?
Okay.
Now let me see. Original object, what is the department name?
Admin.
So now let me print it. What will happen? Did you see that original object department became,
Manager.
but I didn't modify it, correct?
Mhm.
So this is called as shallow cloning. Whenever you are modifying the cloned object, I am modifying just my cloned object, but so it is reflecting the changes to.
Employee and
So this is called as a shallow cloning. Clear, right?
Mhm.
So the example for this one is, say for instance you have an account. So you have an account. So this account, when you go to ATM, when you are trying to withdraw, so they will create a duplicate object whenever you are logged in into the ATM. So whenever whatever operations you are doing, and one master object is there in the bank, correct?
right.
Once you logged in into the ATM, so duplicate object will be created in your ATM, and whatever operations you are doing in the ATM, same changes will be reflected to your
Mm.
bank account, correct?
Right.
So whatever operations you are doing in the ATM, the same changes will be reflected to your bank. So that is called as a shallow cloning. Clear, right?
Right.
So this is called as a shallow cloning. Now the second part is, whenever I'm doing here changes for, whenever I'm modifying my cloned object, I don't want to reflect the changes to parent object. So how to control it?
Private.
Not private. We will see that one. So this is clear, right? Shallow cloning.
Mhm.
So whenever you are modifying the cloned object, the changes are reflecting to parent object, correct? So that is called as a shallow cloning.
Shallow cloning.
Clear?
Mhm.
So now I'm going to create same set of files with a different package. So now let me create one more package. There is a small or slight change for deep cloning. So let me create a package. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the same set of files
Mhm.
for deep cloning. So I copied it. Let me change the package. Shallow cloning is clear, right?
Mhm.
When our cloned object we are modifying, the same changes will be reflected to parent object.
Right.
Okay, now whenever I'm modifying the cloned object, I don't want to reflect these changes to the parent object. So how we are going to control it? So to control it, so we have to override the we have to override the we have to do two changes. One change is, are you implementing the clone method here in
Mm.
department? No, right?
Mm.
So what first thing is, we have to implement markable interface. This is first change, correct? Once that is done, what you have to do, we have to implement the clonable clone method. So this is first change. Previously, we have not implemented clonable method in child object, correct?
Right.
So now I implemented for department also this clonable interface, and I have overridden the clone method. So this is the first change,
Hmm.
correct? Now go back to your employee object. So this is employee class, right?
Right.
So here we have already overridden the clone method, correct?
Right.
But here we have to do a small change. So what is the change? So first what you are trying to do, super dot clone, and you are getting the employee object. So here the change is here. So we have to get the employee object by calling the super dot clone. So now we have an employee object, correct? After that, what you have to do, employee dot get department dot clone. So it will return department, correct? Why? Because we have already implemented the clonable interface and clone method from the department. So you can able to retrieve. So department. So now you have to set, we have to return it back. So this is the thing. What we are doing here basically, we are separating the department object, meaning we are trying to create a separate or clonable object for department. So we are we are providing some implementation for the clone method. So we are not calling any super here, correct?
Right.
So after that we are making a clonable department. So this is the change. Now go back to the main class. Here there is no change, correct? So here also I am creating a parent object. After that I am creating a clonable object and I am modifying the cloned object, correct?
Right.
Now let me print both cloned object and original object. So this is cloned dpt name and original dpt name, correct? So this one let me make as a clone. So here there is no change. Okay, now let me run it. Did you see this? Cloned object department name is manager and original object department name is admin. So these both are separated, right? So you have two objects now, correct? You have
Right.
cloned object and with both details. So this is called as a shallow cloning. Sorry, deep cloning. So both are separate. So even though you can modify whatever field you want this cloned, but these fields, these changes will not reflect in the parent object.
So that changes is not in fact the parent's object, but
Yes,
you are
yes.
overriding it, so that's why you are able to.
Yes, yes. We have to override the default clone method. So we have to provide implementation basically. So this is the